So where are we with the internet today? So all of these e-commerce that we have been talking about, nearly all of it is possible because of this wonderful and amazing creation called the internet. What is the internet? Essentially, it's a network, right? And you have your variety of instruments. You have your desktops and your laptops, you have your mobile phones and your tablets. All of them are connected, right? Through this one World Wide Web. What it allows you to do essentially is transfer information, okay? Whether it's emails, whether it's file transfers, whether it's multimedia, broadcasting, whether it allows you to shop, access to remote computers and so on. Essentially, it's an information transfer highway. So that's why internet variously is called the information highway. And you see that all these connects, right? This World Wide Web, so all of these are connected to each other in different ways, in different distances, but it's all about transforming information, okay? And so the physical structure of the internet is something that's unique, and we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. All right, so the physical structure or the architecture of the internet, that at the top are high-speed backbones. Remember, we need to know that this information interchange is something that's intensely technical, right? And at the basis of this entire web are these connectors, okay? And internet traffic is fed onto the backbones via network access points. So each of these are network access points. They do not connect to each other directly, right? They seem like, right, when you're sending an email that you're connected and two computers are connected and essentially talking to each other, but all information. So these physical structures, one thing we must remember is that these machines which look like they're connected with each other, and you're transferring files, you're sending emails, you're going through Skype, they're not really connected to each other physically, right, or through a network. What happens is all the data that you're sending out goes to somewhere else before it actually moves back or is sent back to the other device, right? And there might be actually something in between, right, which receive the information and then it goes here, okay? So these connectors, we use these network access points through which the data gets together and then gets disseminated again to the different connected devices. Individual networks are essentially at the bottom of this entire structure. The internet uses a set of communication protocols. We talked about this in another course. They're developed largely in the late 1960s, and it's called TCP/IP, the Transmission Control Protocol or Internet Protocol. Some of the key protocols that you want to keep in mind are SMTP, that's a protocol for emails, it's called Simple Mail Transport Protocol. HTTP, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is essentially something that makes possible transmission of hypertext over networks, and VoIP, that's your Voice over Internet Protocol, which allows phone calls and essentially phone calls going through the World Wide Web. Couple of basic definitions. The browser, what does the browser really do? It's a web client program that uses HTTP, right? So it uses these hypertext transfer protocols and allows two devices to communicate with each other. So essentially it allows one device to communicate with this network. A user can make requests to web servers via the internet. So you have these web servers out here, whether you're using it for communication or whether you're using it for information. What you do is you use the browser to connect to this web server to ask for information. There are different browser modes. Some of them are text only. The earlier browsers, which used to be text only, there used to be if you look back in time, all Usenet and things like that. Again, things have moved on a lot, and everything now is mostly in graphic mode. It can retrieve text, audio, and video. Things like Internet Explorer, Chrome, and so on, which have kind of become a part of our daily lives. The search engine. Now, coming to think of it. The internet evolved quite a bit before Google came, right? So we must remember that there's a history of internet before Google or before any search engine for that matter. because the early days of internet didn't really require a search engine, because it was more of a communication process rather than searching this enormous information that's already existent in these web servers. So a search engine is a tool which enables users to search the internet using keywords, and the output of a search engine is a database or a website containing what you're looking for. So some of the basic definitions of what is a browser, what is a search engine. Of course, there are many examples from Bing to Yahoo to Google. And what is the World Wide Web? It is a global network of millions of web servers and web browsers connected by the hypertext transfer protocol. Again, the hypertext transfer protocol essentially was developed to make this thing happen, and it's the backbone of inter-device communication as we see it, right? A content is held by web servers, and it's requested by the browsers. So you have all this content in physical spaces. Remember, whenever you think of internet, whenever you think of the information highway, there is somewhere that the data or the information is physically stored in bits and bytes and zeros and ones, right? So there has to be a physical storage space, and you access that storage space through your browser. So whenever you're accessing the internet, remember that this browser is your mode of communication between your computer or your mobile device and this physical storage space where you have this information being held. The most important element of a specific website is its links to other pages within the site or across sites, because again, the whole idea of a web page is not only the information that's held within it, but it's also about the information that's held outside of it, right? So it's a very networked universe that we are talking about, and we want to understand more and more the structure of what this whole thing is before we understand in deeper details that what sort of new methodologies we can use to make full use of this internet-based model, right? So we have commerce, we have businesses, we have people's leisure time being spent more and more online through the internet. So we need to have a sound understanding that as a business, how do we utilize new methods, new technologies from a business perspective to utilize the space that is the internet. So we need to understand the fundamentals and the basics of it.